Now, in this episode of program, we are going to look at African trade, tourism, and business investments. Tourism in Africa and in Europe hold a lot of attractions. Tourism in Africa and Europe holds a lot of attractions. It's an enjoyable exercise. And I have been opportunity to travel around Africa and to travel around Europe. Then in trading and investments, we need to make the environment conducive for investment to flow in. We need to do away with insecurity and banditry. Let's look at how Togo and its president, Faure Nasimbe, are attracting investors. It is a model investment destination in West Africa, even in Africa. Look at some of the laws and what they are doing. I will read out some of the testimonies or statements by the U.S. Department of State concerning the investment climate in Togo. So that shows that it is not Togo putting out the statement. It is the US telling the world this is what is happening in Togo. So it should be believed. Togo President Faure Nasimbe stated, and I quote, I'm quoting from U.S. Department of State statement on investment climate in Togo. Togo President Traoré Nassimbe stated, Togo intends to promote an economy that offers facilities to those who choose to establish themselves or invest in my country. Investment opportunities are available in transportation, logistics, agribusiness, energy, banking, and mining. There are no laws or practices that discriminate against foreign investors. In January 2012, the National Assembly adopted a new investment code which prescribes equal treatment for Togolese and foreign businesses and investors through management and circulation of capital for foreign investors, respect of private property, protection of private investment against expropriation, and investment dispute resolution regulation. The new code meets West African Economic and Monetary Union revenue standards. Togo's Investment Promotion Agency, Togo Invest Corporation, focuses on investments involving the government through public-private partnerships. Although Togo prioritizes investment retention, the government does not maintain a formal dialogue channel with investors. Limits on foreign control and right to private ownership and establishment. There is a right for foreign and domestic private entities to establish and own business enterprises and engage in all forms of remunerative activities. The foreign investor can also create a wholly owned subsidiary. It has no obligation to associate itself with a local investor. This right is contained in the Code de Investissement Investment Code, and there are no general limits on foreign ownership or control. Section 4 of the Investment Code states that any company established in the Togolese Republic freely determines its production and marketing policy in compliance with the laws and regulations enforced in the Togolese Republic. Additionally, there are no formal investment approval mechanisms in place for inbound foreign investments, nor rules, restrictions, limitations, or requirements apply to private investments. Other investment policy reviews. Togo conducts an investment policy review through the World Trade Organization (WTO) in July 2012. A link to the report can be found at www.wto.org/English. Togo has significantly reduced the costs and procedures required to establish business in recent years. In 2013, Togo established a one-stop center for starting new businesses, the Centre de Formalité des Entreprises, that manages new business registration but unfortunately does not have an online business registration process. In 2014, Togo made starting a business easier by enabling a one-stop shop to publish notices of incorporation as well as eliminating the requirement to obtain an economic operator card. The World Bank Doing Business Report 2018 places Togo at 121 of 190 for the starting a business indicator, in comparison to 123 of 190 in 2017. Togo has enacted similar reforms vis-à-vis the process for obtaining construction permits First, Togo removed a cumbersome and costly bureaucratic hurdle by eliminating the requirement of providing a certificate of registration from the National Association of Architects as a condition precedent to receiving a construction permit. Second, Togo has streamlined the entire procedure by establishing one-stop windows where applicants may drop off their applications and retrieve their permits, thus eliminating the need to visit multiple administrative offices in order to process paperwork. Unquote. Now, when you compare business climate in Togo with Ghana or Nigeria, the differences are obvious. In Ghana, where I stayed for a long time, there are restrictions on repatriation of capital or profits. There are very stringent restrictions. And there are also very stringent restrictions and restrictions on opening businesses and employment of persons. You can't operate business in Ghana without employing Ghanaians, and you can't operate business in Ghana by employing other foreign nationals. Disallow that. You must employ Ghanaians, not any other foreign national from Africa. Now, when you come to Nigeria, the Nigerian government does not make laws that make it difficult for you to repatriate your profit or your finance to any other country, to your own home country, or to any other country to establish. At the same time, Nigerian laws do not force you to employ only Nigerians. In short, Nigeria's laws allow you to employ people of your choice, citizens of any nations of your choice. So it's easier to do business in Nigeria than in Ghana. But it's easier to do business in Togo than in Nigeria and also in Ghana. When you put impediments in the way of importers or exporters or transporters or customs clearing agents or freight forwarders, you don't know you are harming your nation's economy, you are harming other nations' economy, and you are harming the whole chain, the global chain, the manufacturers, the shippers, the workers in those countries manufacturing, the buyers in your own country, because they're going to pay higher prices for the same goods, selling cheaper either in Ghana or in Togo or in Tanzania. So many countries are looking for ways of bringing down the cost of doing business, the cost of investing in their countries. Many governments are doing that. But some don't give a hoot. you are a court official and you make clearance of goods difficult, cumbersome, costly, or you are a customs official and you make the clearance of goods difficult, cumbersome, costly, then the traders will transfer the whole cost to the price of the goods. And so it is the final consumer, the buyers, who are the receiving end, who pay the cost, the higher cost. You make those importers to pay. And so the goods will be costly in the domestic economy. And the companies or importers will sell less. It also engenders inflation. Or you are the checkpoints, the land borders, you make the clearance, you make the transportation of goods, the exploration of goods into your country so difficult, or exporting of some goods out of your country so difficult. You erect so many checkpoints to extort money. Then you are harming your nation's economy. And you're also harming the global economy. So these unwholesome practices have got to stop. I noticed that when I go to Lagos from Asaba, especially in Benin, there are so many police checkpoints. What the hell are they doing? So many police checkpoints, extorting money from traders, from travelers. Also between Eke in Akwa Ibom and Trailer Park in River State. Once you have left Akwa Ibom State and you are entering River State, there are more than 20 checkpoints, all manned by the police. What the hell are they doing? Collecting money from people, from travelers, from traders. What the hell are these people doing? People who are paid by the taxpayers to protect them are now being the masters of the citizens, the exploiters, the extortioners. Sometimes the robbers, they are robbing the citizens. What they do, when they do, they do not equal to robbery. And you know what? Robbers operate on that route on daily basis, even in the daytime. So can robbers rob on that route without police connivance? My answer is no. So government has got to check some of these excesses. And the same thing happens at Semeboda, before Semeboda. Between Maitu and Badagry. But particularly, the worst scenario is between Badagry and Semeboda. You will see more than 15 police checkpoints between Badagry and Semeboda. What are they doing? Extorting traders, extorting travelers, making the cost of things to be high, making travelers traveling to be so difficult, making drivers to collect more money from passengers, so commuters pay higher because of police extortion. And some customs officers are not helping matters also. I have had grouses with some customs controllers with petitions against them, those who connive with smugglers to bring into Nigeria goods that were banned, goods that were not legally allowed to enter because of the southern closure of the borders. That's all the more reason why we have to commend some of them who are also doing a good job. I know of Abuja, Kansas, Zanuji, the city of Benin Customs, Brigadier General Ibrahim Ayorogo, the city of Ghana Customs, Yakuba, the EMC, the city of Autonomous Port of Abidjan, the acting director of Tema Wharf, Ebon Zuma, the CEO of South African Transnet National Ports Authority, TNPA, Ms. Michelle Phillips, who was appointed since 26 February 2024, replacing Sulani Kalinge, who was there since July 2017. Also, Lynette Libon Likeng, former CG of Customs in Cameroon, who is intoning Edouala Mayor, Dr. Pius Akuta of Nigerian Shippers Council is doing a good job now since he took over. We commend him. The Mbongo Kumu, the CG Congolese Customs, that the DRC, the customs of DRC, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And then in Nigeria, here we have Hawa Abubakar, the CSC Customs Area Controller of Lekki. She's doing quite a good job, and we must commend her. This is a zero tolerance officer for corruption. Zero tolerance for corruption officer. We have Samuel Arubi of Lily Pond X-Force Command, who is also doing a good job since after taking over from the former controller. These are people who are patriotic, who love this nation. And then Deputy Controller Bolaji Adigun of Kirikiri Lighter Terminal. We commend him. I personally commend him. Then Olusala Akimbade of Ogun 2 Command, Excise Command in Abeokuta. go from this is Alade. She is doing an excellent job at Abeokuta today. Then Adebola Salawu of Lagos Industrial Command in Festac. These are people who are using excise laws and enforcement of such laws to encourage local production, to encourage manufacturing. And manufacturing is key to development and shoring up of the exchange rate, the shoring up of your currency, the value of your currency. So, excise laws and enforcement are potent instruments for industrialization and for development. Then Olukayode Afeni of Idiroko Command. Idiroko is the most porous border in West Africa, so he's doing a good job there. It's very challenging. Most encouraging. And before him, some other guys there have done did good jobs. Like Otunla, Godwin Bonga Otunla, did a good job at Idiroko to revamp and revive activities in that command. Some selfish controllers killed Idiroko and diverted every business to Semeboda. Then you have at Port Harcourt Oil and Gas Command, IP Inyong, Controller IP Inyong. He's also doing a good job there as he's a no-nonsense customs officer and a highly intelligent officer who also trained to be a fellow of the Security Institute. He trained at Department of State Security, highest institute in the country, the Staff College, I think at Buhari, Abuja. She can be trusted to do a good job, and she is doing what she knows best how to do. They have Assistant Marine Command Anderson Jaja, who is also, in my own opinion and investigation, doing a good job. Because you have Dr. Ken Okonla, director of the Maritime Academy of Nigeria, on since he took over about a year ago. He has made a lot of difference and is building upon some of the achievements of the former ones, especially the Emmanuel Efedua. But in just 1 year, what Okonla has achieved, he is on his way to surpassing the Emmanuel Efedua and any other rector of the academy, including Mbandiok, Ake Mbandiok. No, you are managing Mombasa Port, that's the Kenya Ports Authority KPA, and the port managers themselves. They are making attempts to address challenges to ease cost of doing business in Kenya and in East Africa. Credit capital business. According to capital business, I quote, Mombasa Port must address challenges to ease cost of business. This is compared to most efficient trade corridors where transport costs make up only 4% of the cost of goods. The concept paper for the maritime transport released on the sidelines of the ongoing Sustainable Blue Economy Conference urges Kenya to address the logistical challenges experienced at the port of Mombasa in order to make the country competitive for business within and beyond. The port of Mombasa is the gateway to Kenya, Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda, South Sudan, Northern Tanzania, Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, and Ethiopia. According to a concept paper, the region served by the port of Mombasa is the second fastest growing region in the world economically, but also the second most expensive region in which to do business. With our 3 shipping lines calling at the port, it provides connectivity to over 80 seaports worldwide at today's thoroughput. Port utilization is saturated at over 90% of full capacity, the concept paper reads. And unquote. Now this the Shippers Council of East Africa placed a notice that they are moving to Inland Container Depot, ICD Nairobi, off Mombasa Road, Administration Block, 2nd floor, office number 215. It should be noted that the cost of moving goods across borders has become increasingly important since countries can easily price themselves out of the global market due to the high cost of goods. The Port of Mombasa, I quote again, capital business. The Port of Mombasa is Kenya's largest and busiest seaport, serving as a critical gateway for East and Central Africa, with extensive facilities for container, bulk, and specialized cargo. Located on the Indian Ocean in Mombasa, it is managed by the Kenya Ports Authority (KPA). It serves as the main maritime gateway for Kenya and neighboring landlocked countries including Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, South Sudan, Ethiopia, and parts of the DRC. The port comprises Bulundiri Harbour, Port Reis, the Old Port, Port Tudor, and surrounding tidal waters. Now in South Africa, I'll quote Seamaster Maritime and Logistics. And I quote, Durban and Richards Bay ports owe their significance to their strategic locations along the eastern coast of South Africa. One, gateway to Southern Africa. Durban, located in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, is South Africa's busiest port and serves as a vital gateway for goods destined for South Africa, Swaziland, Lesotho, and landlocked regions of Southern Africa. 2. Mineral-rich hub, Richards Bay Port, situated north of Durban, specializes in handling bulk, cargo, particularly minerals such as coal, timber, and other minerals. It is a key export point for South Africa's vast mineral wealth. In its conclusion, Seamasters wrote, in the globalized world of trade and commerce, ports are the lifeblood of economies, enabling the efficient exchange of goods and contributing to economic development. Durban and Richards Bay ports, with their strategic locations, diverse cargo handling capabilities, and substantial economic impact, are indispensable pillars of South Africa's economic growth and regional stability. Their significance goes beyond the maritime sector, shaping the nation's prosperity and playing a pivotal role Africa's Best in Leadership Awards, which we started in 2014, and has entered 2016. Which we started in 2014 and have entered 2026. It's also called sometimes or that Africa's Patriots Awards, and we have given such awards to the following. Sometimes without the awards we will send commendation letters and other recognitions to interested institutions, organizations, establishments, or individuals. We must encourage ourselves so that those who are not doing well can and we let the others, those who are doing well. We must progress as a continent. I have sent such commendations and awards. We have done so to several people from 2014 to 2026, and it's still ongoing. Fatima Madabio, the first lady of Sierra Leone. Julius Madabio, the president of Sierra Leone. Madabio is championing a campaign against sexual violence and early marriage for women. John Mahama, the current president of Ghana, and Nana Akufo-Addo, the ex-president of Ghana. John Mahama's first regime organized an election and he was trounced. He was defeated by Nana Akufo-Addo and he left quietly. After Nana Akufo's 8 years, Nana Akufo-Addo organized a presidential election and John Mahama won. That is how democracy is supposed to be. Ghanaians' voice counted. The voice of Ghanaians counted. And there was something Nana Akufo-Addo did or said when he lost to Professor John Atamis. As somebody resident in Ghana for long, I knew there were pockets of irregularities in that election. And people wanted to protest or even to go to the streets or even cause mayhem. But Nana Akufo-Addo advised his supporters. He said it is the victory is the victory of Ghana. That nobody should go into the streets to protest or to cause violence, to create violence in the nation. That is the victory of Ghana. To let go. That's how a patriot, somebody who loves his country, somebody who loves human lives, behaves. He didn't know God or destiny was going to bring him back, was going to bring him to really be elected as president. So John Atamis died while he was in power and John Mahama took over as acting president. Mahama won the first election. During the second term, he lost to Nana Akufo-Addo. These are patriots. These are lovers of humanity. These are people who love the lives of their fellow human beings. Now I also have Godwin Benga Otula. He's also a lover of humanity, a lover of life. When he was the 2IC to Mohammed Yusuf at CBC's strike force in Ikeja, Lagos, in charge of Western Zone, they made sure no life was lost while enforcing the laws. Mohammed Sani Yusuf also values lives. These are exemplary enforcement officers in Africa. While enforcing the laws, don't kill your fellow human being. And eventually Okinwa was then a controller and he was posted to Diroko. And he did a good job. Within a short period of time he was in Diroko, he did an excellent job. There are those who reformed activities in Diroko. Then before he was posted to Murtala Mohammed International Airport Command, NACO, the one they call NACO Command, but the real name is MIA Command. And he's doing quite well there. This is a patriot of this country. This guy is a genius. And a guy who does not make noise. He doesn't care for publicity. And then you have Chidi Nwokorie. Chidi was there at MMIA Command before he was now taken to airports, to National Airport Command. But Chidi was the brain behind most of the successes recorded by the CSCs at Ome, including Mohammed, Babandele, Baba Imam, and others. He stabilized Ome Command. We listen to the complaints of the trading public, to the complaints of fellow officers, and other stakeholders. He was this in charge of administration. And during Babandele's time, Ome was recognized as the best port in Nigeria in terms of ease of doing business. Babandele Mohammed did a good job at Ome. We commend him. Then Aliyu Gambo, he was at Oyo-Osun, doing both enforcement and revenue generation, anti-small loan enforcement and revenue generation at Oyo-Osun. He did an excellent job. Then they posted him to Ikeja now at FOU Zone A, Ikeja. He's also doing a very good job. That's a no-nonsense, honest, and true leader of this country. An enforcement officer par excellence. And then you have Salamatu Atinuku, who is now at Port Harcourt Area 1. She's also exceeding the targets given to that command. She has excelled more than other CSCs before her. I commend her so much. We have a Jibril Hussein Kainde, who is a friend. We became friends because I saw him as somebody who loves this country and somebody who is righteous. Somebody who values the lives of his officers, the lives of his countrymen and women, somebody who does not place money above the lives and rights of his fellow citizens, the trading public, his officers, even the smugglers. Here is a guy who will never compromise on anything. That's a Jibono Kainde for you. Then you also have B.A. Balogun, who was formerly DC revenue in Semen, yeah, we gave him an award. What means recognized him before he came to Owerri. Now he's also doing an excellent job, but I'm surprised that Balogun is a good enforcement officer, an excellent enforcement officer. I knew him as a revenue officer. I didn't know he's such a versatile guy. An excellent administrator. I thought he was only good in revenue. Then we have Wale Adenuga, currently in Semen. That's a hotbed of smuggling. And he's doing the right things there. He's doing the right thing there. He's a Patriots and an enforcement officer par excellence, and also a revenue officer. He came with Dinka in those days when Dinka was posted to Semen. He came with Dinka. Dinka brought him to Semen because Dinka trusted him as one of his lieutenants. These are people who have cut their teeth in enforcement. Then you have Salefu Oduwadu Salefu, who was at Western Marine, did a very fine job. From Western Marine, he was posted to FOUD in Bauchi, where he excelled. The highly intelligent, creative enforcement officer, a technocrat of great repute. Then have Dr. Nuruddin Audu of NAFDAC, currently in Semen. I've never met his type before. The same thing I told Ojibun, when I told Ojibun, hey, Ojibun, don't collect bribe from people or smuggle. I said, no, I cannot do so. I told Nuruddin Audu. Nuruddin Audu said, oh, look, I even told me, don't suppress or persecute or squeeze people so that they can now give you more. He said, no, since my life I've never oppressed anybody. I can't do so. I pity people. Here is a deeply religious man in political leadership or administrative leadership. Nuruddin is an exemplary African leader. I've never met his type before. He said, no, I cannot oppress anybody because of money. And he went out and told his officers and others who care to this journalist, if you see any NAFDAC checkpoint outside their own office there in Semen, no, they are illegal checkpoints. Disband them, they are not for me. Whereas police went about erecting checkpoints, more than 15, between Badagry and Semen border. And then when you are now if you are now going from Semen border to Mile 2, you may encounter up to 20 or 25 police checkpoints. So the immigration office in Semen also multiplies checkpoints, but not as extensive as police people do. But NAFDAC say if you see any NAFDAC chief, Dr. Nuruddin said, if you see any NAFDAC checkpoint on the road, disband it. They are not for me. They are not for NAFDAC. That is a good leader. God will bless that guy. God will bless Dr. Nuruddin Audu. also have Her Excellency Dr. Ambassador Justina Eden, who was in the foreign service as a diplomat. I never saw her tie before. And even when she became a local government council chairperson, she did really uplift the people. You see, when you do good to one person, you are helping the whole world, because that person will love the world because of the good only one person did to him or her. He or she will feel loved, and he or she will want to extend that love to other people that he or she needs. That's the reason, that's the benefit for doing good. Dr. Justina lifted a lot of people from her local government and even beyond to have a good life. And when she was in the foreign service, the same. She cared for Nigerians. And like many Nigerian diplomats out there, they don't care what sufferings and challenges Nigerians are having. They don't care. They don't give a hoot or a damn. But not to Justina. She's a beautiful African lady. She is our beauty. She is the beauty of Africa. Then I also have Dr. Samuel Obuku of NDDC. His intervention since he took over is sporadic. It's everywhere. His intervention. NDDC's intervention is everywhere. Janet Kagame, the first lady of Rwanda, with her Imbuto Foundation, she has touched so many lives. Bizina Fayachi, the Ethiopian first lady, was a good woman. She was a contributor to the peace Ethiopia is enjoying today. And she with her husband, they are working on reconciliation and reconstruction in Ethiopia. There are Angeline Dayibana and Daishimiye, the first lady of Burundi. With her husband, Evariste Ndayishimiye, they are putting smiles on Burundians. And I urge the world to invest. I urge the world to go invest in Burundi. You want to regret it. Go and invest in Burundi. Then Nia Kaba, the Minister for Economy in the Ivory Coast for Finance and Economic Planning, in the Ivory Coast, and also the chairperson, African Development Bank Board, AFDB Board, a highly intelligent woman. Then Sandra Bramba Johnson at the Togo's presidency. These are world-class technocrats, African women who are technocrats. They can hold their grants anywhere in the world. Nia Kaba and Sandra Bramba Johnson. Then you have Uhuru Kenyatta, the former president of Kenya, who organized the election and his own party lost. And William Ruto came on board. They have shown example. Uhuru Kenyatta showed example. Then William Ruto is also doing very well. The good guy was vice president. Uhuru Kenyatta before the parted ways. They also have the present CG of Ghana Immigration, Samuel Basintare Adamu. Samuel Basintare Amadu. Samuel Basintare Amadu is doing a very good job. He took over from Aswa Kwame Takio, who also did a good job in Ghana Immigration. Ghanaian immigration officials are also good. I met with many of them. Edward Donkwo, Inspector Edward Donkwo, Emmanuel Losu, Controller Emmanuel Losu, or Commander Emmanuel Losu. But before, when he was at Aflao, he was Deputy Controller. Then Justice Amego, who was the commander or the controller of Ghana Immigration in Aflao border, or Sector Command. We also have Edward Kiesweka, the CEO or Commissioner for South African Revenue Service, SARS, SARS. Who has been there since May 1, 2019. He has done a very good job for South Africa. The South Africa Customs is a department under SARS, South African Revenue Service. Then we also have Hakainde Hichilema, the current Zambian president. Greta Chapo, the first lady of Mozambique, the current first lady of Mozambique. We recognize all of them. We hail all of them for the good work they are doing. And João Lourenço, the Angolan president, and his wife, Ana Diaz Afonso Lourenço. Special mention must be made of Babu Kambu, the CG Gambia Immigration. I met him in Gambia. And then he told me, look, I was in Kano. It was in the Kano immigration training school in Kano. Sometime then Femi Gbajabiamila, the current chief of staff to the president, who was one that bought my books and made plenty of his colleagues to buy the same book from me. They were in love with some of my propositions and scholarly write-ups where I talked about Bakassi, that the handover of Bakassi, that the process for handing over Bakassi, which was initiated by Obasanjo, that was faulty. I had 5 legal grounds to criticize that process. So Femi Gbajabiamila bought the book. His colleagues wanted to take his own friend. He said, no, let me call the seller. One day when I went to the National Assembly, the secretary told me, Oga wants to see you. I saw him say, Oga said, bring 20 copies again. My colleagues want that book. Because I canvassed 5 legal grounds which will make Yaradua Now to hand over Bakassi until the National Assembly had gone through the whole thing. I put mouth in that process. So after buying my book, he and his colleagues raised a motion on the floor of the House of Representatives that whereas she want to hand over Bakassi to the Cameroons until the National Assembly has studied the judgment and the whole process of handover. And even domesticate the handover before it can be done. He's a highly intelligent legislator, lawyer, administrator. Then Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, the current president of Egypt, he saved our world from destruction. Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, the current general in Sudan, who is also the leader of Sudan. Yassin Tassiu Bekele, the Ethiopian Airlines CEO, they are doing a good job to promote trade and tourism. Kenya Shippers Council CEO Adayo Ogambi, the Richards Bay Port Terminal RBCT Nosifo Siwisa Damasani. Nosifo Siwisa Damasani, we recognize her for her contributions, her intelligence and patriotism. And the bard Masiyiwa, the MD Batokas and Basic Science Lodge in Zimbabwe, a hotel owner and investor, investing in the tourism industry. Then Mr. Olivier Granet, the MD Cape Grace Hotel in Cape Town. Then Honey Nkosi, the CEO Black Horses Lodge at Holobane Street, KwaZulu Natal. These are great South Africans doing great jobs for the continent, for their country, for the world. They are promoting trade and tourism and leisure and happiness. Then have Julia Nganga, the ex-wife of Alfred Mutua, then First Lady of Marico State, Kenya. Her foundation is helping a lot of Kenyans. Julia Nganga Foundation. Then CGBA Adoniyi, the current CG of Nigerian Customs. I've never seen a guy like that before. The best of the CGs we have had in this country. It's a guy that has a sense of equity, a sense of justice. He's carrying everybody along. He's carrying every nationality, every tribe along in his administration. I love him. We have Sienda Sabelo, the CEO Regent Hotel Apartments, Main Lane, Pretoria. Such a great job, such a great hotel and tourism investment in Pretoria. That's a great contribution to African development. Then Philomena Mekui-Obono, former tourism and culture minister to Equatorial Guinea, Honorato Edita Oma, former Transport and Telecommunications Minister in Equatorial Guinea, Irene Besio Riocalo, Justice and Prisons former Minister, Guy Lorenzo, the former Information Minister for Togo, Mohamed Babayoko, former Information and Defense Minister under Ouattara's government in Cote d'Ivoire, and then later became the mayor of Abidjan. Benjoro Nino Osa Ekoro, Secretary General of the ruling party in Equatorial Guinea, Partido Democrático de Guinea Ecuatorial. We have Miguel Antonio Obiang Avoro, Information and Media Minister of Equatorial Guinea. Pascual Odo Massa, University Education and Sports Ministry, one of the directors. The Vicente Insue Mango, also a director in the University Education and Sports Ministry in Equatorial Guinea. Jankumi, former Minister of Lands and Survey in Cameroon. Pauline Nguene, former Minister of Social Affairs in Cameroon. Also Rosimba Acha, former Minister. Abena Ondua Obama, former Minister also in Cameroon. Then John Inze Obiang, former Information Minister in Equatorial Guinea. Alain Claude Bilo Inze B, former Information Minister in Gabon under Bongo. Former President Bongo, the young Bongo. We've also recognized Sakani Masia, the MD New Premier Hotel at Mwambawa Manini Drive, Tohoyandu, Venda region in South Africa. And also PROs in Nigeria who did an excellent job who have facilitated things for everybody. Who have been the oil of progress in the administrations of their commands. Award means recognize all of them, all of these ones. Benjamin Wamba, Mohammed Yakubu, Abdullahi Hussein, Jeriata, Peter Theophilus Dunia, Madam Anna Wanti, the part of the good leadership we're talking about in Africa. Then Mamadou Khan, alias Mariam, a native in Mauritania. This guy welcomed me in Mauritania and took me round and gave me stories that helped my research work and my journalistic work. Mariam. Then later on, Mayan Diabate of Malian police. Joshua Diakite of Guinean Gendarmerie. He was at Ganta checkpoint before, sorry, not Ganta, Conakry checkpoint before you start going to Kimbia. Ibrahim Ghana and his wife, they swim in Ghana. Another one at Senegal, another in Senegal, precisely at Guinguinéo railway station. Ibrahim Bangana was the boss of the railway station. Guinguinéo is a stone throw from Mali. It's almost like a border town between Senegal and Mali. And then Captain Duncan of Liberia and his woman Nene, his wife, they were at Dakar checkpoints. Captain Duncan is of Liberian immigration. Then Makodun Biayi at Medina Dakar. He employed me in his school. I taught in his school for some time. The school is in Medina, very close. From Medina you can start going to the Gambia. They have Ambassador Tunde Ademola, a professor, Minister of Education in Nigeria, before he was posted to Germany as ambassador. This is another patriotic Nigerian, a very good ambassador of this country. Then Mr. Ojiako in the Nigerian embassy in Italy, Rome, Via Orazio. Ojiako was a student officer and never met a Nigerian so meticulous and caring for every student coming to the embassy to resolve issues. Then Ambassador Okoro in Banjul, Gambia, Nigerian ambassador there. Ambassador Yusuf Ndaji in Mali, Bamako, Mali, the Nigerian ambassador there. Professor Laudere Dangote, the former Minister of Education in charge, and who was the Vice Chancellor, he also doubled as the Vice Chancellor of the Chadian University. Then Joan Bobitolu, the Chadian Ambassador to Nigeria. Marcel Anyero, the Ivorian Ambassador to Nigeria. Dolly Thompson, the Jamaican Ambassador or High Commissioner to Nigeria. The William Kojo, former Prime Minister of Togo, and also this one-time Secretary General of OAU, Organization for African Unity, which transformed into AU, African Unity. Then the Sefo Soglo, former President of Benin Republic. And the Deputy Commandant of the Civil Defense, Adewuyi in Akwa Ibom. He worked under Commandant Susan Lavale. I've never met a guy like Adewuyi before. Such a good guy, patriotic Nigerian, an honest administrator, security officer. Then Bimba Ishaku, Director of Information at the National Assembly. Bola Ajibade, former Secretary, Nigerian National Judicial Institute. Bola Ajibade, she was formerly Chief Magistrate in Osun State before she was appointed the Secretary of National Judicial Institute. Then Controller Precious Goodall Bates, who was in Calabar, who was in Cross River, Controller Patience Bolovent was a crossover fighting command. She is a revenue miracle officer, a patriotic and honest Nigerian when she was posted to cross over fighting command. The revenue started flowing like torrents into that command, and when she left, the revenue dwindled and dried up. Such a lucky, hardworking, honest, creative controller. And then Nuruddin Mohammed Hassan, my very good friend, the Patriots of Africa. A good, humane, hardworking, deeply religious officer in the detribalized Nigeria. Nuruddin Mohammed Hassan. So what news? We at World News, we have recognized so many people. I want to encourage them. But we have also criticized so many more. But it will not be so good, it will not be so fair. We start mentioning the names of those who criticize. We have grouses with some officials in Cameroon, Nigeria immigration, Cameroon immigration, Nigeria customs controllers. We have some problems with them, but we won't mention their names. We know. Because they were breaking the rules of engagement, the social contract. They were breaking those rules. Some were conniving with smugglers to bring in goods. Some was just collecting money from travelers, immigration. Those conniving with smugglers, customs controllers. And we had to fight with them. We fought them. And because I've also criticized the police, let me mention a few police officers that I have encountered that are good, who are doing their jobs well. Former CSP Faikoro, ex-DPO of Juba Police Station. That one is a one-man squad. Juba with the drug addicts, rapists, robbers, and what have you, even coaches. Faiko will not go with his officers. He will just carry his walkie stick all alone and go and meet them. He shot some of them. So Juba became somehow peaceful when Paiko was posted to Juba. That guy is a good man, he's a good officer. Then what CP Fidel name Boom, the commissioner of police in charge of a core border in Cameroon, just a very good guy. We also had, then he was chief superintendent of police, Wilson Dankwanu, now I think deputy commissioner of police. When he was the squadron leader or commander, I don't know how they call them, in Mopo, mobile police unit in Aba, he built a clinic for Aba women, rural women, pregnant women. He built a clinic for them and equipped it. Because he said he was moved when a pregnant woman was about dying. They left very late in the night before they could get to the hospital. Either the woman died or something happened or she was eventually rescued. He decided to use the resources at his disposal to build such a clinic. Wilson Dankwano, he's from Adamawa, but he did that in Abia State. He said he did a clinic at Otisioma, and it is still there. So there are some police officers who are doing good jobs. I also have Ali Ibrahim, controller, also known as Ali Bra, my good friend. A patriotic Nigerian, an administrator par excellence, an enforcement officer of great repute. Then Yahya Usman, who was my good friend and boss. When some customs controller were fighting him because of his stance, not to compromise. He knows what I did. I've never seen a fearless and honest, a patriotic officer, Nigerian like Yahya Usman. Fearless. I was fearing for his life. Because those officers, those controllers were arresting him. The boys went down with, they couldn't arrest him. They were intimidating those boys, taking them to the Department of State Security to intimidate them. So I backed out from the report they made that some of these, because they caught the smugglers. The smugglers confessed, gave the names of the controllers who took money from them. It's a long story. So when we see people who are also doing a good job, we commend them, we partner with them, we pray for them, we wish them well, and that's what we have done. We encourage them to continue. in the present world loves Africa more than non-Blackander Lawrence. Her work as leader of opposition in Liberia during the 8 years of Willie's government speaks volume for this lady's patriotism, tenacity, and virtues. She's now the president pro tempore of the Liberian Senate. But before then, she has been an activist and advocate for fairness to women in Africa generally, and in particular, women in Liberia.